Oh, like I said, man, that's a big dude. You know what I mean? He ain't even at 168. You know, when you look at,
Not now. It's at 175, yeah.
he probably can't even make 168 no more.
Right.
When you look at these fights, you know, especially,
I don't want no handouts either. I want to, earn my spots everywhere I go, even at 175. But, I see that weight class, I want to become champion at 175, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's a tough fight. I don't know if Bud can overcome that. That's different. That's a lot. That's a lot to overcome. Height, reach, the speed of Benavidez coming downhill, the stamina, because this a guy that does get stronger as the fight goes also. So some of the advantages he had over Canelo, he wouldn't have at Benavidez. I think it will be a question if Benavidez can make the weight.
But yeah, I mean, if the fight comes up, the opportunity comes up, I would love that fight.
So you're saying 160 versus Crawford, you do it?
Oh yeah.
Fresh off his win over Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford fired back at David Benavidez by questioning whether he could even make the 168-pound limit, a comment that immediately sparked major discussion across the boxing world. Soon after the fight, Crawford sat down with Stephen A. Smith for an interview to discuss what comes next in his career, where the topic of a potential clash with Benavidez came up. During the conversation, Crawford delivered a sharp and direct response that quickly went viral, casting doubt on whether Benavidez could truly operate at super middleweight. In just one statement, he made fans and analysts question if the rumored showdown was actually realistic.
But if you were at 168, when we think about anybody at 168 outside of Canelo, the first name that comes to anybody's mind is David Benavidez. What about the potential for a fight like that?
oh, like I said, man, that's a big dude. You know what I mean? He ain't even at 168. You know, when you look at,
Not now. It's at 175, yeah.
he probably can't even make 168 no more.
Right.
When you look at these fights, you know, especially coming up, you gotta be realistic. You gotta, say, all right, how big is this dude really is? Because David Benavidez, he can fight his ass off, and I told him that a long time. I told him that when, before I fought his brother. And I said, man, dude, you can fight, dude. You gonna.
Crawford's strong comments only added more fuel to the debate over who he should face next. Even voices outside boxing, including MMA stars Henry Cejudo and Kamaru Usman, weighed in with their opinions. Both made it clear that they believe David Benavidez is more than capable of competing at 168 pounds, and that a fight between him and Crawford would help settle the question of who the true champion really is. In their view, the discussion isn't really about weight. It's about two elite fighters finally meeting in the ring to remove all doubt. They also emphasized that fans are no longer interested in excuses or delays, and what the boxing world truly wants is the biggest names facing each other at their peak.
Kamaru, Terence Crawford versus the Mexican monster, David Benavidez.
I knew it was coming.
He was a mandatory for Canelo.
Oh my God. Relax.
What's up? The scariest guy in the division.
He's not in the division.
He said he could still make 168 pounds. The reason why he won, because nobody wants to fight him.
That's a big dude. And to be honest, Terence Crawford's 37 years old.
It's about merit. Could I get to the generational talent, as he said, with Manny Pacquiao? He's an 8-division world champ.
If it ain't no big name, Terence, do it.
As the discussion kept building, Terence Crawford used his post-fight press conference to directly address his critics. He reflected on how often people had doubted him over the years, even dismissing his relevance in boxing, and pointed out how those same voices went silent after his dominant performance against Canelo Alvarez. Speaking with confidence and satisfaction, Crawford questioned what else could possibly be held against him at this point in his career. His tone showed total control, as if he knew the narrative had shifted completely in his favor after such a defining victory.
Which do you think means
all
the most?
And all of it. It all goes hand in hand.
Can you describe what it all means to you to have? You just made like a whole resume of stuff tonight.
It means a lot to me because, anybody can be a nobody, like I said, and that's all they say I've been fighting is nobodies. So what can they say now? Somebody tell me, what can you say now?
You can say congratulations.
That's it.
Benavidez didn't stay silent and quickly fired back at Crawford's remarks about him struggling to make 168, making it clear that the issue isn't about hitting a number on the scale, but about fighting in the right weight class. He argued that Crawford shouldn't even be questioning him since they aren't operating in the same division. Identifying himself as a natural 175-pound fighter, Benavidez emphasized that his focus is on his own path and goals rather than outside commentary. In his eyes, Crawford's statements came across less like serious analysis and more like noise, almost suggesting an attempt to avoid a dangerous matchup rather than properly evaluate his abilities.
I wouldn't fight Crawford. I'm at 175.
Even after his response, debate continued to grow around whether Benavidez was actually trying to avoid the fight. While Crawford's camp kept raising concerns about weight and division limits, Benavidez appeared more focused on other possibilities, with discussions suggesting his attention may have shifted toward Dimitri Bivol, a major force in the light heavyweight ranks. That change in direction only fueled more speculation about his true intentions. Some fans began questioning if he was deliberately steering away from a Crawford showdown, while others argued he was simply making smart career moves and targeting opponents that aligned better with his long-term plans.
This is a tough fight. You know, the top WBC, the top people ranked at the WBC are fighting each other. So I mean, it should be an easy call. If I can't get those fights, then I'll go up to fight Bivol, or I'll go try to, you know, I set my conquest to 175. Like I said, I don't want no handouts either. I want to, you know, earn my spots everywhere I go, even at 175. But, you know, I see that weight class, you know, I want to become champion at 175.
At the same time, discussions about a potential Crawford versus Benavidez clash continued to quietly gain momentum in the background. Well-known boxing coach Breadman added weight to the rumors, saying the interest in making the fight happen is real. He revealed that Turkey Alalshikh is seriously exploring the possibility of turning the matchup into reality, pointing to strong backing from powerful figures beyond just the fighters themselves. That revelation only increased the buzz, as history has shown that when influential decision-makers like that step in, major dream fights in boxing can come together much faster than expected.
Very quickly.
Even though he hasn't been at 60, there's no big names at 60. 68, maybe the Benavidez fight. That's a tough fight for Bud. I ain't gonna lie, that's a tough fight. Benavidez ain't no. Yeah, that's a tough fight. I don't know if Bud can overcome that. That's different. That's a lot. That's a lot to overcome. Height, reach, the speed of Benavidez coming downhill, the stamina, because this a guy that does get stronger as the fight goes also. So some of the advantages he had over Canelo, he wouldn't have at Benavidez. I think it will be a question if Benavidez can make the weight.
As the speculation kept building, David Benavidez's father and trainer, Jose Benavidez Sr., also shared his thoughts on the situation. While he acknowledged Terence Crawford's skill and praised what he has achieved, he also issued a firm warning about what would happen if the two ever met in the ring. In his view, even though Crawford was able to beat Canelo Alvarez, David represents a completely different kind of challenge. He stressed that his son carries serious punching power and would bring a level of intensity Crawford has not dealt with before. According to him, a fight with Benavidez would be nothing like anything Crawford has experienced, and the result could look very different from his recent performances. His comments worked both as support for his son and as a clear message that David Benavidez should be considered one of the most dangerous fighters in the division.
You know, I think David's too big for Terence Crawford. I think Terence Crawford will be like 38 years old, you know? I mean, it will not be the same as Canelo, man. We know David comes in and throws a lot of punches and put the pressure. And no disrespect to Terence Crawford, he's the best pound for pound. He's in the books to do history. He did something that nobody could do. But at the end of the day, we're talking about the Mexican monster, you know? David's young, strong, super big for Terence Crawford. And, you know, even Terence Crawford said...
On the other side, Crawford's longtime coach Bomac was quick to downplay any talk of a possible fight with Benavidez. Even as the hype kept growing around the matchup, he made it clear that their focus is on careful development and the next realistic steps in Crawford's career. His comments showed that Team Crawford isn't interested in letting public pressure or online excitement dictate their decisions, no matter how loud the calls for the fight become. For Bomac, the priority remains discipline, timing, and smart strategy rather than chasing high-risk, attention-heavy matchups.
Canelo? Turkey dropped. Now people are talking about it. Turkey hit it at that. He was like, Benavidez. Yeah, he Turkey, did. So Turkey just posted that this morning, wondering if Benavidez can make 168. Maybe he has plans or ideas of maybe trying to match up Benavidez and Terence Crawford. No, man. No, we ain't doing that fight. Maybe planning on vacating the belts. No, we ain't gonna vacate the belts. You know, we just gonna sit where we need to sit for a minute, and then, just like I said, get back in the gym and do our thing. Honest, he don't want that.
As the debate kept intensifying, another contender stepped into the conversation. Virgil Ortiz Jr., instead of simply giving his opinion, he openly challenged Terence Crawford himself. Ortiz stated that he would be ready to face Crawford, but only on his own terms, proposing the bout take place at 160 pounds. He insisted that making the weight wouldn't be a problem for him and expressed full confidence in taking on the current pound-for-pound star. In his view, he is willing to act immediately and prove himself in the ring while others continue debating and negotiating opportunities behind the scenes.
If the fight comes up, the opportunity comes up, I would love that fight.
So you're saying 160 versus Crawford, you do it?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Even if it's right now like at 154, like let's say he says, you know what, I want you to jump up to 160.
Why not? I mean, I feel like I'm a big 140 as it is, you know? I mean, I was a big 140. I was a 140, a big 140, a big 147, a big 154. I think 160, I've always said I'd go to 160 eventually.
Ortiz further addressed the discussion when the topic of Benavidez potentially making 168 pounds came up, and he firmly dismissed the idea. In his opinion, it's highly unlikely that Benavidez could safely drop down to the super middleweight limit. He explained that cutting to that weight would be extremely difficult, especially at this stage of a fighter's career. With that statement, Ortiz not only questioned Benavidez's physical ability but also cast doubt on a matchup that many fans were already excited about. His remarks indirectly supported Crawford's earlier comments, while also adding an outside perspective that strengthened the ongoing debate.
I don't know if David can make the weight anymore. I mean, it's one thing to want to go down, but are you still able to? So I don't know. Would it entice him? Maybe, but that doesn't mean that he can do it. You know, I mean, he's been at 168 for a while.
This mix of opinions, reactions, and predictions has given fans plenty to think about. Terence Crawford has already established himself as one of the standout fighters of this era, silencing critics with his victory over Canelo Alvarez and reaching achievements few in boxing ever manage. Even with that win still fresh in everyone's mind, attention has already shifted toward what comes next for him. With every interview, podcast, and article, the anticipation continues to grow around the same big question. Who will Crawford face next? And is David Benavidez truly the man willing to step up and take that challenge?
Crawford and Benavidez.
He said he wanted if Benavidez could make 168.
We just talked to Bomac and he was like, "Nah, we don't want to do that."
Yeah, I just think Benavidez. He's like what, 6'5", 6 something like that. He's a big dude, bro. He's a big dude, man. So I just who knows? Now you got fight announcements now. They got. You know, Rey Mysterio fighting Andrew Tate and I don't know, just crazy stuff.
He also questioned whether Benavidez could realistically make the 168-pound limit, admitting there isn't a simple answer. In his view, Benavidez naturally carries a much bigger frame, sitting closer to 165 or 166 pounds even before any serious weight cutting begins. He highlighted just how large and powerful he is, leaving the discussion open-ended with no clear conclusion. Meanwhile, fight news and unexpected matchups continue to circulate across combat sports, adding to the chaotic buzz around boxing. At this point, Benavidez remains both a potential opponent and an uncertain factor, with his weight, focus, and future direction all under close scrutiny. Analysts, fighters, and even family members have shared their opinions, but nothing is confirmed yet. What is certain, however, is that the tension between Crawford and Benavidez has reignited major interest in boxing debates, shifting the conversation from past achievements to whether these two stars will eventually collide inside the ring.
About fighting Benavidez, that's just Turkey trying to pull rank. Turkey trying to show he got a golden arm. You know what I mean?
I understand that Turkey likes to make these big grand events, but there's a boxing aspect to this shit too. Like some stuff gotta make boxing sense. Yeah. Bringing the dude down that's been comfortable at 75, bringing him back down to 68, and then having him fight a dude that just jumped 3 weight classes in 2 fights that started his career off at 35.
Right.
Like, no, bro. No.
Yeah, I don't want to see that fight. There's no point. There's no point. Like I said, but
with Turkey Alalshikh's behind-the-scenes involvement and Virgil Ortiz Jr.'s unexpected challenge, the situation has become more complicated with every passing day. While Crawford's critics have grown quieter after his recent success, new voices continue to spark fresh debate. At the same time, Benavidez's father has issued cautionary warnings, while trainers like Bomac and fighters such as Ortiz push the discussion in completely different directions. As always, the boxing world continues to thrive on these constant twists, shifting opinions, and unpredictable developments.
Ever entertain a fight with David Benavidez?
You gotta understand.
I gotta ask you, bro, because I can't, you know?
My thing is, Benavidez is a big dude. Not to say I won't fight him. I fought his brother. His brother was big when I fought him. The only reason why I entertain Canelo is because he's not a big dude. He might be thick, but he's not a big dude. Benavidez is like 6 foot something. Then he gonna come in 190, 200 probably. You know what I mean? Like, you never know. Like, that's a big dude.
And he's skilled.
I might as well go to heavyweight.
The question still remains. Will Terence Crawford and David Benavidez ever truly face each other inside the ring, or will this rivalry become just another what-if story in boxing history? Fans, analysts, and promoters are all still waiting for a clear answer on what happens next. One thing is certain though, the drama in boxing is nowhere close to ending. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay updated on every call-out, controversy, and potential matchup, don't forget to like the video and drop your thoughts in the comments.